Hi, I'm Elaine Harding. Welcome to my blog.stampwithelaine.com. This is the project I'm sharing with you today. It's a gift cube. This is my prototype, so I had to make it up as I go along, and in the next one I'll do a few little improvements. But basically it rolls up into a gift cube, and when you open it, there's room for you to put a greeting and also somewhere to write, so you can address it to the recipient and who it's from. I needed a way to hold the box together initially, so I put ribbon all round the edges like that. But then when I discovered if you design it for classes, that uses up an awful lot of ribbon, and the unit cost would be quite expensive. So I'm going to rejig that, and I also included a magnetic catch. But the downside of the magnetic catch is that it adds a bit of bulk on the side. I'm going to be using the Snowman season stamp set. In order to work out the size of my cardstock, these triangles have to be 90-degree angles inside. Long story short, I started off just making a triangular box, but then when I put them together it wouldn't meet up in the middle, and I realised that this has to be right angled triangles in the centre. So I had to go back to my schoolgirl maths. So that's 90-degree in angle, and Pythagoras' theorem is that the sum of the hypotenuse is the side, this is the side opposite the right angle of the triangle, is equal to the sum of the areas of the squares on the other two sides. So it's this side and that side will give you the hypotenuse on this side. The formula is x squared equals L squared plus L squared, which is equal to 2L squared. So therefore x will be equals L, the square root of 2. So x equals 1.414 times L. So let's say if L equals 2 1/8 inches, which is 2.125, therefore x will equal 2.125 times 1.414, and that will come to 3.00475 according to the calculator, and then we just need to round it off to 3. So I'm going to draw a line that is 3 inches long. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then I use my compass and I take that measurement, 2.125, which is 2 1/8 inches, and then I put the point there and draw an arc, place the point here and draw an arc, and I've gone back and extended the line. I've drawn my arc at 2 1/8 inches, so I'll join that together. Okay. Then this, you put your compass point there and intersect the line here, compass point here, intersect the line here. Alright, so that will give you the length of the cardstock. So that's 7 3/8 inches, and you want to add on say 3/8 inches for your tab. So therefore you get cutting your cardstock at 7 3/4 inches. So that will give you the length. Then you measure here, which will give you the measurement, and that's 1.5 inches. So then you want your cube, which is also 3 inches. And then add on another 1.5 inches. So that's 1.5 for the width, plus 3 inches, plus 1.5 inches. Okay, there's no tab on the top and bottom for this because it's a triangle. So that's 3 plus 3, so that's 6. Therefore, you need to cut your cardstock at 7 3/4 inches by 6 inches. So that's the formula on how to work it out. Just included that bit of extra information so that if you ever want to make a box like that again, you can size it up or size it down. Cut 4 pieces of real red cardstock at 6 inches by 7 3/4 inches. With the long side on top, you score at 1/2 inch, 2 5/8 inches, 5 5/8 inches. Rotate cardstock a quarter turn, and then score at 1.5 inches and 4.5 inches. On this middle panel here, 1, 2, 3, on the third panel in, you make a mark at the 4 1/8 inch mark. 4 1/8 inch mark. Run your stylus down so you can then mark the bottom as well. Okay, need to do a bit of cutting. So we don't want this bit here or this bit here, this bit here and this bit here. So we're going to make a cut from the long side on that second score line in. So you've got your 1/2 inch score line on the left. So sorry, not 1/2 inch. Yes, 1/2 inch. And then this side on the opposite sides as well. And then cut in to discard those rectangles on the outside. So you repeat this for the remaining 3 pieces of cardstock. I've marked my scoreboard at the 6 inch mark with a white chalk pen, so it's more easily visible. So I'm going to line up the cardstock there, swivel this cardstock so that the mark is now in line with that 6 inch score mark, and then just create a diagonal score. Okay, so do the same here, line it up, swivel and score down. Same with this. Then where you've scored diagonally, you fold those triangles in and reinforce all the other score lines. And you repeat for the remaining 3 red pieces. For the side of the boxes, cut at 2 3/4 inches by 1 7/8 inch. In metric, that's 7 centimeters by 4.8 centimeters. For the wrap, you need to cut 2 pieces. This is the wrap extension, which is 3 inches by 6 1/4 inches. and on the long side you score at 3 1/8 inches, which is 7.9 centimeters. And for the main wrap in Coastal Cabana, it's 3 inches by 9 3/4 inches. That's 7.6 centimeters by 24.8 centimeters. The long side you score at 3 1/8 inches, 6 1/4 inches, and 9 3/8 inches. In metric, that's 7.9 centimeters, 15.9 centimeters, and 23.8 centimeters. Reinforce the score lines on this as well. Miter the edge on the narrow tab on the main wrap. Apply adhesive, or if you're using tear and tape, make sure that it's on the underside. If that's facing you, then the tear and tape should go on the bottom. So marry those two up together and stick it down. 4 real red, and these have been cut at 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 inches, and 2 whisper white also cut at 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 inches. So this will go in there, and then one of the whisper white ones will go in here. Designer series paper, so you can alternate them. This one will be the stripy one on the first panel, the patterned one on the second, stripe and pattern. These measure 2.5 inches by 2.5 inch square. I also cut out 2 snowman figures from the DSP and glued it onto some Coastal Cabana cast stock before I fussy cut them out to give it some added strength. I put dimensionals on the back and stuck it to the sides here. Real Red and Coastal Cabana ink, a detailed trio punch and a 1/2 inch circle punch. We've gathered all our supplies. I'm going to return to the triangular box that we started to make. I showed you how to score it. Now with the 1/2 inch flap at the top, which will be the closure, you need to use your trio punch to round the corners, and if you press from the center, it's easier to punch than if you press on the side. Flip it over. This is how your box closes. With this paper it doesn't really matter because both sides is all higgledy-piggledy and there's no distinct pattern. But if there is a pattern and you want a continuation of the pattern, then you have to be mindful of which way up it appears when your box is closed. I hope that makes sense. So I've adhered my pieces. You need to take your 1/2 inch circle punch. Now I've already pre-done the boxes, but the first one you punch, you keep that as your template, so that you can punch the finger holes all in the same position. So I use that as a template, offer my punch up to the same alignment as the previously punched semicircle, and then punch. On the tabs here, you want to cut a parallel line, so say about 1/2 inch on both sides. And you do the same for the opposite end. If you orient your box with the finger hole at the top, you only need to apply adhesive. Get my silicone mat so then things don't stick to it. You run your adhesive double-sided tape onto the tab that is adjacent with the finger hole. And you leave this one free. remove the tape and then align it with the straight edge on the front of the triangular box and do the same here. Try and be as accurate as you can. So there's your box, triangular box completed. So now we can adhere our real red matte layers. I'm going to leave the end panel, which needs the Whisper White layer, to be stamped on last. So next I'm going to adhere my designer series paper. So the first one will be the stripe one. I shall alternate these. Put a foam mat underneath so I can stamp, and I'm going to stamp the snowman in Coastal Cabana. Now this Merry Christmas is too big for the card, so I'm going to have to stamp it in two lines rather than the one line. And because the stamps are soft, I can just wrap it round my block. I'm just doing it the lazy way. So I'll just ink it up and only stamp the Merry. Then clean the Merry. Swap positions and only stamp Christmas. So hold on to the Merry, ink up the Christmas, and then stamp Christmas underneath. Switch to Coastal Cabana ink, and I'm going to stamp to and from here, followed by the snowflakes. I'm going to change this a little. I'm going to raise this on dimensionals instead. I'm going to put some glue dots on the bottom of the magnet. Now make sure you check which side the magnet is on. So your box is going to close like that. So you need the magnet on the outer edge here of the flap on the right, and for the flap on the left you need it closes this way, so it'll need to be on this side. So that's where it should go. So I'll just remove all the backing from the dimensionals. Then pop the magnet on top of that one so you know what position that goes. Okay, like that. Before we do that, we want to glue the box down. So you need to flip your cardstock over, and the first box will be glued behind this sentiment here. Now when you glue the boxes down, make sure that all your finger holes are pointing the same way. If you want your boxes to open this way, then you want the finger holes all to be pointing on the left. So put adhesive on the base of the boxes. And be sure that it is shy of the score line. So you want it like that. Now you need to put the next box down, so you can open the box lid and just use your hand to make it firm. And that's why, although the boxes are 3 inches at the baseline, I've allowed 1/8 of an inch tolerance so that it will close properly. You want dimensionals on the back of this as well. For to attach the magnet to this side, you need to put the magnet in so that it's sure to be in the right place, and grab some glue dots to put on top of the magnet. Probably need about 4, depends on the size of your magnets, of course. And then close your box. Then you need to put dimensionals on the back of your card. So I'm going to put a couple on either side of this magnet, and then all the rest on the back of the card. Remove the backing tape, and where the big gap is, you know that's the right way up, so line that up. Oh, remove that as well. So line that up so that there's an even border all round, and stick it down. Close the box, and now it will attach itself. I've put dimensionals on my pre-cut snowman figures, and I'm going to place one on here and one on the back. I've already removed all the backing tape from it just to save time. Tie some tulle ribbon in a bow, and if you follow me on Top Tip Tuesday, you will know how I made a faux double bow. So I'm going to do that with this tulle. So I've tied my bow, and then I've made it smaller by making a pleat and then sticking a glue dot in there, and then sticking it down together, so it makes the bow look as though I've tied a double bow. Grab a scissors and just trim it off. So this is what I call my gift cube with the Snowman season stamp set. So 4 triangular boxes onto a wrap, which you can roll up and close. This is the original, and I've used far too much ribbon, so I think I much prefer this one that I demonstrated today. I hope you've enjoyed today's project. Pop back for more inspiration next time. You'll find the full list of supplies I used on my blog, together with a comprehensive list of measurements. Join me again next time for more inspiration. Thanks for watching. Bye.